Hey guys, so this is the official Church of Satan responding to an unfinished thesis I recently posted on Twitter. It's about the links between woke ideology and Satanism. This is my initial response to them. That is them basically challenging me to use their FAQ to go ahead and prove my argument that woke ideology and Satanism are basically synonymous with each other, and the only thing that really separates them is rainbows and drag queens. And you guys can argue with me, or you guys can tell me why I'm wrong, but I would hope that you at least sit through the rest of this video and you hear what I have to say and the things that I'm going to point out. So let's go to their website where they challenged me to go to, and let's start with sexuality, and then we'll get into an essay that I want to show you guys that I got a lot of good information from. So let's start with the word asexual. So we learned this word a lot lately, or rather we hear it a lot lately. And that refers to someone who's obsessed with themselves, who loves themselves so much that they don't seek intimacy from anyone else. They get no gratification from anyone but themselves. And this obviously fits with the central theme of Satanism being a religion that is all about oneself. It is what you want, what your desires are, and screw everybody else. They are against traditional marriage. They want to basically allow gay marriage, you know, any kind of way with which to mock and mimic the church. They're going to want to do that because they stand in opposition to theist religions, and I'll show you that quote in a moment. So they have been accepting of transgender people since their founding. It's basically in their mission statement, in their charter. I'll let you guys figure out what that means for yourselves. So let's go into about the organization. So let's go down here to the essay. So there's here it is. This is the essay that we're looking for. Okay, so to publicly attack other members is considered conduct unbecoming. So basically Satanists have an agreed pact between one another where they will band together and they set the rules, and there's no breaking those rules. There's no deviating from the path. We see this in woke ideology all the time right now. You know, and the key word is unbecoming of a member, right? And to attack other members. So that means that, like, you're really only one of them when they have acknowledged it, right? Just because you share the ideology with them, that's one thing, but it's another to actually be accepted as one of them. And once you are accepted, you are expected to adhere to rules that other people probably may not know about. People outside of the group probably don't know about. So we see that right there. This is a good one too. The human animal is fallible, and no one understands that better than a Satanist. When our members occasionally fail to observe the prime house rule, the situation can often be remedied by a direct, heartfelt apology. So as we can see here, these people lack all accountability. Where do we see this most often displayed? Probably at White House press conferences, where basically they tell us that, you know, they're sorry and we're not allowed to say anything more about it because apparently sorry makes everything okay in the real world. I think it just destroys accountability altogether, but who knows, that might just be me. So if we go back to the original page that a lot of this came from, what is the Church of Satan? Well, we're not going to get into that. Let's actually just go to my response to them, because this has everything on it. So this is one of the quotes that's in it. Our position is to be self-centered. I told you guys about that. There would be a quote in there about it. It is in there. You guys can kind of sift through the pages to find the exact one. I don't have it off the top of my head. Satanists are atheists. We stand in opposition to theist religions. So let's actually go to that and see if we can see that. Yeah, we stand in opposition to theist religions and their inherent hypocrisy. Smash. opening the floodgates to a revolution designed to smash the hypocrisy and irrationality which has reigned for the past 2,000 years. So basically, they want to destroy our way of life. They want to destroy civilization and basic understandings of morality. Basically, they want to destroy Judeo-Christian values, which is what our societies are predicated upon. That is what actually the West really symbolizes at its fundamental core, because we have basic concepts of understanding that basically tie into the 10 Commandments. That's kind of like the core of all Western laws. If you really want to like boil them right down, they basically embody that essence. Now, it's not a direct correlation, but that's kind of where the spirit of it comes from. And that's something that Satanists obviously want to destroy. Why do they want the world to be atheist? Why do they openly declare that they want to be atheist? Because atheists are how God is actually stripped of his power. If you believe in the devil, you inherently believe in God. So if you inherently believe in God, you're inherently empowering him. That's how that works. So the best thing that they can do, their ultimate goal, it's not to get you to believe in the devil, it's to get you to believe in nothing at all. Only their clergy, only their members, only their select inducted have the perception to actually read between the lines. And those are the people that they are actually interested in. This ties all the way into how Masonic traditions work. Normally, people at a Mason's lodge, there will be degrees of Mason. As you progress through the degrees of Mason, you become knowledge on the inner workings of the organization. The people who do not prove themselves, they are not privy to that knowledge. What does that mean? It means that only a very select few actually know that they're worshiping something called the Grand Architect. Maybe a lot more of them do nowadays, but I know that like even the people that have come out and revealed this stuff, they're few and far between. Why? Because most people don't get to that point in the Masonic institution and actually leave and then actually be able to talk about it. So we see, again, atheist, you'll see the word atheist all over the place and how they stand in opposition to theist religions. So let's go back to this, and this is an especially interesting quote that I saw. We are explorers on the untrodden paths of science. And I think that one is... yeah, it's right here. We are explorers on the untrodden paths of science. So they basically admit that they like perform MK Ultra experiments, and then that they're like behind like what was going on at Plum Island. Like they have no qualms about telling you that they'll experiment with you. And if you guys don't think that what we're seeing going on around us is some big giant experiment, I don't know what to tell you, right? Like we've literally been cooked indoors by some like half-brain plot to, you know, convince us that, you know, COVID was going to kill us all. So, I mean, to those of us who are still naive enough to believe that, like, this doesn't stink to high heaven, I can't place my finger on exactly what that conspiracy is really all about, but I promise you it's tied into this. I promise you it's linked to this mess somehow, because everything else seems to be linked to it. All the other chaos, insanity going on in the world, it all links back to the global liberal elites who are basically running some agenda right under our noses. So we get to... let's look at some more of these that really stood out to me. It is a natural step for our members to band together as a pack to exclude such dysfunctional persons. And this is basically talking about, like, once they've given someone too many chances and that person keeps breaking those chances, or, you know, keeps giving their sincere, heartfelt apologies and just, you know, doesn't understand what accountability is, if he does it enough times, they band together as a pack to get rid of that person. We see the same thing in woke ideology. This is what I'm saying, where, like, the literal modus operandi, the little rule book that they all seem to follow, right? It seems like all the rules are here. It seems like literally to a T, every single subtle variation, we see it here. It's in the Satanist manual, right? And, like, I didn't even pick apart the whole website. That, like, this was only based on, like, maybe 4 or 5 of the first FAQ sections, the ones that I felt were most pertinent to the actual topic of woke ideology. The other ones are probably more where I would find stuff to prove that they're actually demon worshippers and not atheists. And you guys have to realize that, like, I went into this kind of like, not quite as a blank slate, but like, I didn't have my mind made up about anything. Really, I was just studying demons. I started studying the most prominent, it's called a grimoire. It's like a demonic manuscript. So I started studying the most famous one among occult circles, modern occult circles, and it leads me to this guy. This guy is Baal. This guy is the first demon listed in it's basically 5 manuscripts bound into one book called the Lesser Key of Solomon, and it talks about this demon is the first one listed in it. And then very quickly, as you start to research this demon, you start to notice that this is like a major demon of the Bible and Torah, and this is like kind of mind-blowing, because if Masonic elite are worshiping a grand architect, and if they are demonologists, if they believe in the same kind of lore that the Catholic Church does, because we know that exorcists and demonologists use the same tradecraft. They literally need a seal, they need like a compass point, they need the demon's secret names, they need to know information about him, like how many legions he commands. So they need to know stuff specific to the demon that they're targeting. They both use that same kind of like quote unquote forbidden knowledge. So when we understand how seriously they take it, and we understand how like Masons love to dress up, Masons are worshiping a grand architect, it's fair to assume that they believe this too. This guy is kind of like the godfather, you could say, of demonology. He's somebody that they all really respect, whose work they all take very seriously. His word is basically canon amongst these, fringe darker circles. So when you learn who Baal is, when you learn some of the scripture from the Bible about him, he's Beelzebub in the Bible. So that's another link to, he's known as Astaroth. He's known by a lot of different names. He's in the Ugaritz cycle of the Canaanites. It all talks about the same deity. It's all the same origin story. It's all the same story talking about this guy Baal, who happens to be a shapeshifter that bestows the gift of invisibility. So you see that? And now everything's going wonky. So that's in the other page. Okay. Anyways, he bestows the gift of invisibility, and that gift of invisibility is obviously in the form of wisdom that is able to assist people to go undetected. So who's it good for? Evil politicians? Priests who are doing things that they shouldn't be doing? Yeah, those are exactly the kinds of people who pray to this guy. And we see this even correlating into like this whole thing about MAPS, minor attracted persons. I really encourage you people to look this up. I mean, we can go check something out right now about it, just because this is something that people should really, really know about, because this is like the weirdest thing in the world. It's like it's pedophiles. It's like what they want us to call pedophiles now, because they want us to lessen the severity of this. They want us to sympathize with them. They want us to literally like warp our understanding of what it means to be human and become more like them. Okay? And that's kind of like the situation that we're at. If you guys don't think that's what it is, then like I would ask you to explain to me what this is, right? And it's not just like, oh, that's just like one website saying it. It's like, no, this is like a new thing. This is like a lot of universities are now like the same places where woke ideology came from, the same places where all these crazy ideas are coming from. That's where this is coming from. So if you can't do like 1 + 1 = 2, I don't know what to tell you. And there's another thing that I want to point out. Something I go over in my thesis. So Satanism is attached to activism. If there's one thing we know about activism, is they really all use the same modus operandi. Whether it's climate change, whether it's you're for transgender rights or equal bathrooms, whatever your issue is with activism, right? Antifa, whatever. They all use the same playbook, and it is the Satanist playbook, okay? It is using their developed rule system for basically being a pack, a cult, working as like one unit, right? Nobody can deviate. If you do, you're punished. So I want you guys to really think about this. Like, this is a quote that I found out of the Bible. The priests of Baal worked themselves into a frenzy and cut themselves with swords and lances. Okay. I like, Trudeau just recently passed a law about talking about transgenderism in any bad way. And apparently I can literally be thrown in jail if I say the wrong things. So I'll let people infer for themselves what this could possibly mean, right? This is an award that's handed out. This one isn't handed out by the Church of Satan. I think it might be the Satanic Temple of Lucifer. I think it might be a different sect. I'll have to do a bit more research into that, but they basically have an activism scholarship. They literally have a scholarship that they give out for people who are coming out of those colleges with crazy ideas, like MAPS, like minor attracted persons, and they're getting paid to advocate for this kind of crap. Okay? And this is something everybody should be knowledged on, right? Like, we should all be knowing about what's really going on and what they're trying to do and where this is all coming from, because I really believe it's coming from the Masonic elites who have some bone to pick with humanity, where they want us warped. They want us just completely warped, where we don't know right from wrong, right? And another thing that links all these activist groups together, for somehow they all magically hate Israel. Even the climate activists, the vast majority of them, have found a way to hate Israel, right? Jews. It's all the Jews' fault. If you're a climate, advocate, then somehow the Jews are responsible for all the pollution in the world, right? It's like no matter which group it is, they have found their reason to hate Jews and to hate Israel. And when it's tied to the belief of Baal, and you understand that Jews are the ones that destroyed the Canaanites, the Philistines, the ones who worshipped Baal, okay? You understand where this is all going. So that's it for today. That's the lesson for today. And the next one, I'm going to try and dig into the church and show you guys some of the ways in which they say, hey, we actually perform demon rituals. And that's what we do here. All right. Take care, guys. Bye.